In the grand scheme of life, it's often the simplest truths that hold the most power. This is a reality that we stumble upon time and again. The wisdom we glean from life experiences and profound reflections often boil down to straightforward, uncomplicated truths. They may seem simple on the surface, but their implications are far reaching and intensely impactful. This is not a new phenomenon. Through the ages, humanity has been guided by such truths, and many of these have been passed down from generation to generation, standing the test of time. Take, for instance, the age-old adage, it's easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of God. This biblical proverb, a profound indeed, has sparked countless debates and discussions over the centuries. But what does it truly mean? What message lies within these words that has resonated with so many for so long? On a literal level, it seems to create an impossible scenario. However, its real significance lies not in the literal interpretation, but in the metaphorical insight it provides. It implies that worldly wealth, while not inherently wrong or evil, can act as a barrier to spiritual growth. The accumulation of wealth, the pursuit of the material, can sometimes blind us to the more profound aspects of existence. It's not about renouncing wealth or shunning material comforts. Rather, it's about not letting these things own us, not allowing them to become the focal point of our lives. It's about understanding that while money can buy us comfort and convenience, it cannot buy contentment, peace, or true happiness. In this increasingly materialistic world we live in, where success is often measured by financial wealth, it's more important than ever to remember this wisdom. It's crucial to strive to maintain a balance between our physical needs and our spiritual well-being. We must acknowledge that our needs extend beyond the physical. We're not just beings of flesh and blood, but also of spirit and soul. We need food for thought, love for heart, and peace for soul. So remember, while money can buy comfort, it cannot buy contentity. It can't purchase love, buy true friendships, or guarantee happiness. The path to true happiness lies in material wealth, but in spiritual richness. It's about cultivating inner peace, practicing kindness and empathy, and nurturing our souls. It's about recognizing the immaterial aspects of our existence that truly enrich our lives. So, as we navigate the complexities of life, as we make our way through the maze of challenges and opportunities, may we always remember to keep our spiritual health in check. After all, it's the state of the soul that truly determines our wealth. It's the richness of our spirit, the depth of our compassion, the strength of our integrity. These are the things that truly define us, that truly make us wealthy. As we step into tomorrow, as we shape the future with our actions and decisions today, let's make it a point to remember that true wealth is not measured by the size of our bank account, but by the richness of our souls. Voiceover. As we journey through life, it's all too easy to get caught up in the pursuit of material wealth. We often find ourselves entangled in this intricate web of worldly possessions, so engrossed in the relentless race to gather physical riches that we turn a blind eye towards an irrefutable reality. The unending quest for material gains can inadvertently impede our spiritual progression. The world around us is an arena of materialistic portrayal. Luxury cars that scream opulence, palatial homes that showcase splendor, designer clothes that spell grandiosity. These symbols, though fascinating and alluring, frequently serve as a tantalizing optical illusion, a mirage in the vast desert of life, deflecting us from the path of spiritual advancement. We are conditioned to believe that possessing these symbols translates to achieving the ultimate state of happiness. However, this is a perilous misinterpretation. In the pursuit of these worldly dreams, we risk becoming blind to the true quintessence of life. We start equating success with the accumulation of material assets, overlooking and forgetting that authentic triumph lies in the nourishment of our souls. The pursuit of material wealth, while not inherently reprehensible, becomes an issue when it takes over us, when it assumes the center stage and are pushing our spiritual growth to the sidelines. The ultimate irony lies in the very nature of these material possessions. They are fleeting, impermanent. Their magnetism is transient. They can offer momentary gratification, a fleeting rush of happiness, but they are incapable of providing lasting contentment. This is because our souls, the core of our being, yearn for more than just materialistic fulfillment. They long for spiritual enrichment, an inner harmony that no amount of money can procure. As we continue to traverse the path of life, it's crucial to remember that material wealth is not the final destination, but a mere vehicle get there. It's a tool, an instrument that can aid in leading comfortable lives, but it should not dictate the course of our lives. We must be vigilant not to lose ourselves in the materialistic mirage that the world presents to us. Let's endeavor to maintain an equilibrium between our physical desires and our spiritual requirements. We need to consciously strive to retain our essential humanity amid the waves of materialism. The key lies in understanding the ephemeral nature of worldly possessions and viewing them as tools for convenience rather than the pillars of our existence. In the end, the true measure of our lives is not the amount of wealth we accumulate, but the spiritual growth we achieve, the peace we find within ourselves, love we share with others, and the difference we make in the world. Because in the end, it's not the wealth we accumulate, but the spiritual growth we achieve that truly enriches our lives. Voiceover. While it's important to meet our physical needs, we must not neglect our spiritual well-being. This concept is an intricate dance, a balancing act of great complexity that calls for mindfulness and a purposeful effort. The physical needs we recognize, such as nourishment, a safe place to live, and the comfort that material possessions provide, are concrete and visibly apparent. They provide the foundational requirements for our survival and overall well-being. However, they merely represent one dimension of our existence. The other dimension, our spiritual needs, though harder to pinpoint, is equally significant. They are the invisible threads that weave richness and depth into the tapestry of our lives. They bring forth a sense of purpose, a feeling of fulfillment, and the promise of lasting contentment. Our spiritual well-being is connected intricately to our emotions, the relationships we cultivate, the values we uphold, and our sense of self. It's about looking inward, feeding our souls, inviting tranquility into our lives, and aiming for personal evolution. The challenge, however, lies in striking the right equilibrium between these two dimensions of our existence, the physical and the spiritual. We inhabit a world where the material often takes precedence over the metaphysical. It's all too easy to get swept away in this materialistic whirlwind, neglecting to nourish our spiritual needs. But it's worth noting that a life concentrated solely on fulfilling physical needs can feel incomplete and unsatisfying, despite the comfort or luxury it may offer. Conversely, a life wholly devoted to spiritual pursuits at the expense of physical needs can result in hardship and adversity. Thus arises the need, find a balance, a point of harmony, where our physical necessities and spiritual well-being can thrive in unison. This point of equilibrium might differ for each one of us, as our needs and aspirations are as unique as we are. It's not about entirely renouncing material wealth, but about ensuring that it doesn't cast a shadow on our spiritual growth. As we navigate our lives, it's essential to strive for this balance, to remember to nourish not just our physical bodies, but also our spirits, to aim for a life that offers not just comfort, but also depth and meaning, because a balanced life is one where physical needs and spiritual well-being coexist harmoniously. This journey of achieving balance might seem challenging, but the rewards it offers are immeasurable. As we cultivate this balance, we find a life that is not just comfortable, but also filled with purpose and significance. So let's take a step toward striking this balance and create a life that is not just comfortable, but also meaningful. Because a balanced life is one where physical needs and spiritual well-being coexist harmoniously. Or voiceover. True happiness is not found in material wealth, but in spiritual richness. As we delve deeper into our spiritual journey, we begin to realize that the most profound joys in life are not derived from our possessions, but from our inner selves. Our spiritual richness is intangible, yet it is of immeasurable value. It cannot be quantified, measured, or compared, but it is crucial to the accomplishment of genuine happiness. Material wealth can provide comfort and convenience, but it does not guarantee happiness. Instead, it often becomes a relentless pursuit, leaving us feeling unsatisfied. The pursuit of material wealth can often be a never-ending race, leaving us feeling empty and unfulfilled. However, when we shift our focus towards spiritual richness, it's as if we're experiencing the world through a fresh perspective. We start to appreciate the simple pleasures of life. We find joy in our relationships. We find peace within ourselves. This path to spiritual richness, it's a winding road filled with self-discovery, self-love, and self-growth. It's about finding our purpose, embracing our truth, and living authentically. It's about learning to love unconditionally, to forgive freely, and to embrace life's every moment deep-seated gratitude. When we are spiritually rich, we don't need external validation. We find it within ourselves. We don't seek ephemeral pleasures. We find long-lasting happiness in the tranquility of our inner selves. We don't hold tightly to material possessions. Instead, we find fulfillment in our spiritual growth. As we continue on this spiritual journey, we understand that the true measure of wealth is not in the material possessions we have, but it goes far beyond that. It resides in who we are as individuals. It's not about our bank balance, but about our spiritual evolution. Our worth is defined by our spiritual growth and the intrinsic values we uphold. So as we continue our spiritual journey, it becomes increasingly clear that true happiness comes from within. Let's strive to foster a rich spiritual life, for it is in this spiritual richness that we find true wealth and lasting happiness. A lived in spiritual richness is a life lived in peace, contentment, and with a deep sense of fulfillment. It's a life that is filled with love, compassion, and understanding. It's a life of self-discovery, self-love, and self-growth. It's not about chasing after material possessions, but about finding joy in our spiritual journey. Because at the end of the day, a life lived in spiritual richness is a life lived in true happiness, a life that is filled with love, gratitude, and peace. A life that is not defined by what we have, but by who we are. A life that is not about chasing after fleeting pleasures, but about finding lasting happiness in our inner peace. A life that is not about clinging to material possessions, but about finding joy in our spiritual growth. A life that is about living our truth, finding our purpose, and embracing every moment with gratitude. Because at the end of the day, a life lived in spiritual richness is a life lived in true happiness. Our voiceover. The incomparable richness of our souls is gauged not by the bulk of our monetary resources or the extent of our material possessions, but by our unbounded ability to love, to give selflessly, and to discover serenity within ourselves and with others. The soul, unburdened and unfettered by the relentless pursuit of material wealth, is unrestricted, primed to delve deep into the profundity of its own. This richness, this wealth of the soul, is not a thing that can be bartered or traded on a material plane. It is an invaluable treasure, an asset we nurture and cultivate within ourselves, a form of wealth that can only be unveiled through serious introspection, boundless compassion, and spiritual growth. The vast richness of our soul is reflected, mirrored in our ability to love without constraints, to give without expecting anything in return, and to find peace within ourselves despite the turmoil and chaos of the world that surrounds us. In these moments of selfless love, generous giving, and unparalleled peace, we experience the true depth, the real significance of our soul's richness. Further, the richness of our souls is also reflected in our ability to form connections with others, to engage with them on a profound emotional and intimate level. It is through these deep connections that we find a sense of belonging, a sense of purpose, and a sense of joy in our lives. These connections, these relationships, are not predicated on the gains we can extract from each other, but on the love, respect, and mutual understanding that we can offer to one another. These relationships built on the very foundation of our soul's richness, the wealth that lies within us. As we continually strive to enrich our souls, to magnify its richness, we begin to fathom that true wealth is not about the accumulation of material possessions. True wealth, real richness, is about cultivating the wealth that lies within us. It is about growing our capacity to love, to give, and to be at peace. It is about developing our connections with others and finding joy in the simplest yet most genuine pleasures of life. So strive to enrich our souls, for that is the space where true wealth resides. Let's work to cultivate our inner richness, for that is the source of true happiness. And let's endeavor to forge connections with others on a deeper level, for that is the path to true fulfillment. Because at the end of the day, it is the richness of our souls that truly defines our wealth, and it is in this wealth that we find lasting happiness and fulfillment. Voiceover. In conclusion, true wealth is not about material possessions, but about spiritual richness. It's not the accumulation of physical assets, but the understanding and appreciation of the intangible. It's a different mindset, focusing not on the exterior, but on the interior. It's about what's visible, but what's hidden, the unseen. It's about the depth of our souls, the purity of our hearts, and the strength of our connections with others. As we journey through life, we encounter various forms of wealth. Some are tangible, like money and possessions. Others are intangible, like love, peace, and spiritual growth. However, it is the intangible wealth, the spiritual wealth, that truly enriches our souls. This wealth doesn't have a price tag. It is priceless. It cannot be bought. It can only be earned. It is derived from the love in our hearts, the peace in our souls, and the connections we build with others. Our spiritual journey is a continuous one, demanding introspection, compassion, and growth. It's a journey that allows us to dig into the depth of our souls, to cultivate our capacity to love, to give, and to find peace within. There may be detours and obstacles, but they assist us in our personal and spiritual growth. They help us understand the true meaning of wealth. It is not something that can be measured in monetary terms, but in love, peace, and spiritual growth. In this journey, let's strive to cultivate our inner richness, fostering connections with others, and finding joy in life's simple pleasures. Because it is not our bank balance that defines our wealth, but our soul's richness. In the pursuit of true wealth, remember to nurture your soul, cherish your spiritual journey, and treasure your connections with others. It's in these moments of love, giving, peace, and self-fulfillment that we experience our soul's true depth. This is the richness that brings us lasting happiness. After all, our spiritual journey is not about the destination, but about the journey itself. And it is in this journey that we find our true wealth.